Welcome back, folks, and tonight I thought I'd just run through quickly some of the thoughts that are going through my mind leading up to this year's Sambar backpack hunting trips in terms of reloading and projectile selection. So I've got a few different projectiles lined up here in the 30-06 calibre, so 308 bullet, which is great because you've got quite a diverse range of bullet types and bullet weights. So in the reloading kit currently I've got a 130 grain TSX Barnes boat tail bullet. That's this one here. I've got a 150 grain TSX Barnes bullet. That's this one here. I've got a 168 grain tipped TSX Barnes bullet. I've got a 168 grain hollow point boat tail by Sierra. That's this bullet. 180 grain Nosler AccuBond projectile, which is this bullet. Got a 180 grain Sierra Spitzer boat tail, which is that bullet. I've got the same weight, 180 grain Sierra Spitzer, but it's a flat base bullet. Some rifles prefer flat base bullets over boat tails, and so far I've actually found that my rifle shoots the flat bases better than the boat tails, and that's interesting because my 2506 is the same in New Zealand. I've got a 200 grain Sierra Spitzer and a boat tail, 180 grain interlock round nose, and a 220 grain round nose Sierra bullet. So those are the projectiles that I've got to choose from in the current reloading kit. And I'm going to choose 2 bullets for this next upcoming backpack hunt, which is going to be up high around sort of late May, June, where I'm hoping that the deer are going to be up higher. So I'm going to select the 168 grain Barnes tip TSX, and I'm also going to go the 200 grain Sierra Spitzer. Those 2 bullets are going to be what I take to the range and do some target practice with, and maybe make a choice of one over the other, but I'll get both prepared leading into this backpack hunt. And look, you're probably wondering why I would choose those 2 projectiles. Well, because the hunting's going to be largely in an open sort of open range. It's not bush hunting, it's not up close. Some of the shots will be onto opposite faces out to a couple hundred metres, sometimes a few hundred metres. I want to go a lighter, faster, flatter shooting projectile. So the 168 grains will probably be the go-to. I've not used the tipped TSX bullets on Sambar before, but from what I read and hear, they perform very well and they're hard hitting. So that's probably going to be the selection that I go with for a kill shot. The reason why I'm not going to go with my trusty round nose projectiles, the 220 grain Sierra round noses, is that the terrain isn't really suited to it. I'm not going to be typically bush stalking for those Sambar. I want to be getting set up to do a shot onto an opposite face where I've got a bit more time. Well, the thing that I find so great about reloading is it's very therapeutic, you know. Like we are, in a way, starting the hunting process really early, thinking about the hunt, preparing for the hunt in a very different way to how you may conventionally prepare for a hunt, which is to go down to the range, shoot your box of ammo in, do some training, maybe walk around with your pack on several times or for months or weeks leading into a backpack hunt. You know, reloading, you're actually thinking about your projectile selection, fine-tuning your recipe so that you've got the most accurate load that you can, that gives you the most confidence, because at the end of the day, while I totally agree that preparation for a hunt in terms of looking at maps and being fit and leaving no stone unturned and having no excuse, that's no good to you whatsoever, even if you are really fit, if you're hunting bullets don't perform, or if your ammo isn't accurate. So, you know, to put in all that effort, to go all that way, to pack in as far as you have, to then get a chance at the animal of a lifetime, or maybe just a meat animal, to have it all come undone because you hadn't put in the time to either get to know your rifle and your load, reload and find that right recipe, select the right projectile for your particular animal. You know, for instance, I would never use a light, fast flying bullet that you'd use for varminting on sambar. I mean, that's just an extreme example, right? But it's an obvious one. You've got to plan reloading. I find extremely therapeutic because the process has started. So yeah, for any of you that reload, I'm sure you understand this feeling of feeling like you're really vested and have a strong vested interest in your hunting plans when you have spent so long reading up on different reloads, testing them out at the range, having them shoot well on paper, recording all those details in a diary. Going out into the field, testing it on game animals, whether it's the game animal that you're planning to go on the backpack hunt or other ones, just to get confidence that the projectiles perform as they're intended. You know, all of these things form part of that planning process, that lead up to a hunt. You know, I often say that the lead up to a hunt, the plan, you know, all the build up is like 90% of the hunt. And once you're on the hunt, it's just game time. It's just time to perform and put into practice all of those things that you've been practicing, thinking about, planning about, researching, all into play, and hope that it pays off.